And so what you put out is what you receive. And this is why some people, they may lose a family member they may lose a family member by way of some type of disease that, brought complication to their lives, or maybe it was an accident that family member had, or maybe their family member was kidnapped, or whatever the case. And you see these same people starting funds in certain areas, like assisting people with that diagnosis in the memory of so-and-so. What raises the vibration and what gives you strength is the fact you change the energy. And so even if something was brought to your life in a form that it can cause havoc mentally and spiritually, like the loss of someone or a diagnosis or whatever the case, you can continue to write your story or continue to write their story. I've had the privilege to see glimpses of years ahead of me in what areas God will take me to touch lives. And this is one of the reasons why sometimes you hear me say, I'm available in windows because I'm in assignment. I'm on assignment. And that's because I know God has many plans for me. Some of them I already know. Some of them I even know who I will be working with. What collaborations I will be having. So with that understanding, that's telling me we all have various ways to give back. So your season right now may be, being involved in your children's lives, maybe participating on some type of parental board at their school, or, teaching children, like volunteering and teaching children how to read. And I understand that some of us have hectic schedules. I understand that. Believe me, I do. But at the same time, I'm truthful with myself. I realize what areas really are not assisting in anything of value in my life. And so these are the areas that I cut corners and I say, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice, stop doing this, whether it's something I'm watching or how much time I spend on social media, whatever it is, and utilize my energy in this area. It's always good to not wait for the crisis, to be giving back, to be giving of yourself before you're stuck. And what I'm also being told to share is that in relationships, I want to speak on family relationships, especially. It's wise to appreciate each other even when you don't need each other. It's wise to say, I'm sorry, even though the situation isn't grave. Meaning, you know that person's going to speak to you tomorrow regardless, if you say sorry or not. We have family members like that because they let things go. But you're being called to practice self-discipline. And even though you can get away with certain things, don't offend another soul. If you know that you could have been more mature in a situation, or if you know that you lost your temper, it happens. We're human, people. Nobody's perfect. People lose their tempers. People say things they don't mean. But as you practice self-discipline, that happens less and less and less. That's how you progress. And so those of us that have ourselves on journeys relating to sharing our stories and healing practices, we find ourselves, hopefully, can I say hopefully? Hopefully, we find ourselves in situations where we are practicing what we are preaching, right? That may even involve a mother and a child. I didn't say a mother and a young adult. I'm going to repeat myself. A mother and a child. I'm going to refrain from using examples like cultures because more and more I'm learning it's more about your family dynamic and really less about your culture. Because many people come from the same culture, but totally different households. Some people will never hear an apology from a parent. Can I say never? I said never. That does not mean the parent doesn't love you. But sometimes they're just not open to it. And they hide under the umbrella, well, that's what was done to me. I can share that sometimes children, you tell them no. And they respond with, why not? And you explain whatever the reason is. And sometimes you say, because I said so. And other times you said, don't talk back. You know, we have different reactions. It could be because you're busy doing something. You're focused on working, or, you know, you're in the middle of something and you get interrupted. Or can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And it's not that you don't want to. And it's not that you will not. But they need to learn to wait. But in that scenario, you can find yourself raising your voice in a manner that wasn't necessary. Right? If we're being honest, right? But see, a lot of us disregard certain relationships because we feel there's no consequence. But in fact, what you're putting out is what you're attracting. Whether it's from the child or another soul you encounter, if you're being submissive, and not open to interaction, you may find that in other areas of your life. And this is why you should try to find balance. All that to say, my response was nothing negative. It was nothing traumatic. It was nothing abusive. But I utilized the incident that occurred where I had to raise my voice. I utilized a moment that was an opportunity, right? An opportunity to teach a lesson. And so even all that I said was, do not answer back, right? I reviewed that. I reviewed the tone it was said. Was it necessary? The volume of how I said it. And later on, before bedtime,